Hi friends, welcome to our channel, and in today's episode let's watch some highlights from championship in freestyle wrestling. This championship happened in Republic Saha. This area is situated in very cold place, um, and the boys and there look like a little bit like Chinese. As you know, in freestyle wrestling, there are certain moves that are considered illegal due to their potential to cause serious injury or violate the rules of the sport. And some examples of illegal moves. Full Nelson. This move involves locking both hands behind the opponent's neck, which can cause a serious strain or injury to the neck and spine if applied improperly. Next one is cradle locks. Cradle locks that involve putting excessive pressure on the opponent's neck or spine are generally prohibited in freestyle wrestling. Suplexes. While certain variations of suplexes are allowed in freestyle wrestling, others that involve throwing the opponent directly onto their head or neck are illegal due to the risk of severe injury. Slams. Intentionally slamming the opponent to the mat in a way that endangers their safety is prohibited. Biting, eye gouging, and hair pulling. Any intentional attempt to bite, gouge the eyes, or pull the opponent's hair is considered illegal and against the rules of fair play. Striking, punching, kicking, or striking the opponent with any part of the body is strictly prohibited in freestyle wrestling. Joint locks. Blind joint locks, such as those commonly seen in martial arts, is generally not allowed in freestyle wrestling due to the risk of injury. If you watch MMA, and they are practiced there quite often. Deliberately poking or jabbing fingers into the eye is strictly prohibited. Also, any attempt to bite an opponent is considered a serious offense. But in the bout, it's very difficult to notice when it's happening. But for example, hair pulling is grabbing or pulling an opponent's hair is always not allowed. It's always obviously seen by the judges. Also, there is such thing as fish hooking. It means when they use the fingers to hook into an opponent's mouth, nose, or other facial orifice is illegal. There is such thing as not only mouth, nose, but also private parts. Punching, kicking, or any other form of striking better not be allowed. But in some situations, fighters or wrestlers are out of control and they do the full fight instead of a wrestling. In some instances, slamming an opponent who has a front headlock may be considered illegal. as it poses a risk of injury. Freestyle wrestling, like any contact sport, carries inherent risks of injury. However, the level of danger is relative and can depend on various factors, including the skill level of the participants, the quality of coaching, adherence to safety guidelines, and the enforcement of rules during competitions. There are some common injuries in freestyle wrestling: sprains and strains. Injuries to ligaments and muscles can occur due to the physical nature of the sport. Contusions and bruises. Wrestlers may experience bruises and contusions from the physical contact involved in the sport. Fractures. While relatively rare, fractures can occur in high impact situations or if a wrestler lands awkwardly. Concussions, now less common in wrestling than in some other contact sports. Head injuries can still occur, particularly in situations involving throws or slams. Dislocations. Joint dislocations may occur, especially in situations involving forceful twisting or grappling. To mitigate the risk, it's crucial for wrestlers to receive proper training and coaching to learn and execute techniques safely, even to your opponent. You have to be careful with your opponent. You have to follow proper warm-up and stretching routines before bouts. You have to wear appropriate protective gear such as headgear to minimize the risk of injury. If it's included in competitions, as you see here, they don't use them. You have to compete in events that adhere to established rules and regulations, where wrestlers will be a little bit worried to break the rules, otherwise they will be disqualified. Also, you have to be aware of and respect the safety guidelines and rules of the sport. To understand more championship, let's look at the key rules for freestyle wrestling. Wrestlers are grouped into weight classes to ensure fair competition. A freestyle wrestling match consists of 2-3 minute periods with a 30-second break in between. Scoring. Wrestler earns points for taking their opponent down to the mat. Points are awarded for also exposing an opponent's back to the mat. A wrestler who is on the bottom and reverses their opponent earns points. Penalties can result in points being awarded to the opponent. Excessive passivity or rule violations may result in cautions and warnings. If both wrestlers go out of bounds, the referee stops the action and the match resumes in the center. Points can still be scored if a wrestler initiates an action that leads to points before going out of bounds. If a wrestler accumulates a lead of 10 or more points, they win by technical superiority and the match is stopped. A match can end if one wrestler pins their opponent by holding both of the opponent's shoulders to the mat. Wrestlers are allowed to clinch and engage in upper body attacks. If a wrestler is not actively engaging in the match, the referee may declare them passive, leading to potential penalties. Coaches can challenge certain calls made by the officials. If the challenge is successful, the challenging team retains their right to challenge. Otherwise, they lose it. Freestyle wrestling is governed by rules established by international organizations such as the United World Wrestling. So, in general, wrestler with the most points at the end of the match duration wins, and the wrestler who achieves a fall or pin wins immediately. Freestyle wrestling emphasizes both offensive and defensive techniques, agility, and strategy. Wrestlers aim to outscore their opponents through a combination of takedowns, reversals, and exposure points, while also avoiding penalties. Okay, guys, see you next time. I hope you enjoy these wrestling highlights.
Федор Косенков, анескер гирге Яков Павла выгытта тустуга доктор. Томпа богон кытта. Сылгы бу көбөр бүтөр халы кайын